Good morning, everyone. ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence platforms have led to speculation that AI will eventually take over thousands of jobs that are currently performed by humans. But AI is also creating a surge of new jobs. Christine Lazar explains.
Art Zaley is CEO of the DHI Group and the employment website Dice, specializing in jobs for technology workers. He says in the past year, there's been an explosion of businesses looking for employees with expertise in artificial intelligence, from tech industries to banks and insurance companies.
We have roughly 5,000 artificial intelligence job opportunities on the platform today.
Other sites are seeing a similar boost. According to LinkedIn, there's been a 21-fold increase in the number of job postings that mention AI technologies. The DHI Group is looking to hire its own artificial intelligence experts because Dice uses AI to make employment matches.
We're constantly in the market looking for machine learning engineers. Machine learning is effectively allowing the algorithms to constantly perfect themselves behind the scenes.
Victoria Cortan is a senior machine learning engineer and was looking for a job earlier this year. She had plenty of options before deciding to join the DHI Group.
There were a lot of open positions, a lot of recruiters reaching out, so it's a matter of sort of finding the right area that would be a good fit.
The demand for experts like Cortan is only expected to grow as AI becomes integrated into more industries.
We will see a lot more engineering effort incorporating artificial intelligence into these business models, into the applications that are used by businesses, by consumers.
Many AI jobs pay at least six figures. Some corporations are offering AI executives $500,000 a year or more. Christine Lazar, CBS News, Los Angeles.
There is no test to screen for ovarian cancer, but a new survey finds many women mistakenly believe pap smears can detect it. Bradley Blackburn has more on how that may put them at risk.
Katia Lezen has been diagnosed with ovarian cancer twice, the first time when she was 46.
My kids at the time were 11, 15, and 17, and I was facing the very real possibility that I may not be able to see them into adulthood.
Ovarian cancer has a 50% survival rate over 5 years. If it's caught at stage 1, those odds improve to more than 90%. But a new nationwide survey found 7 in 10 women wrongly believe pap smears test for ovarian cancer.
Pap smear screens for cervical cancer only.
Dr. Aoife Stitt says because guidelines now recommend pap smears every 3 to 5 years, too many women skip annual checkups that could catch potential early symptoms of ovarian cancer, like pelvic pain, bloating, or low appetite.
By not being seen annually, we lose the opportunity to screen for some of these subtle presentations.
For those with family history, genetic testing can identify risk. Lezen carries the BRCA1 gene mutation that increases the chance of multiple cancers, including breast cancer. It's knowledge that can help with treatment and prevention.
I elected to have a prophylactic double mastectomy that was fully paid for by my insurance company because of my mutation.
More than 10 years after her first diagnosis, she is living proof you can survive ovarian cancer.
Let's arm ourselves with the right information and be proactive about our health before you get that call that says, I don't know how to tell you this.
She says all women should see their doctor every year. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
According to the National Cancer Institute, nearly 20,000 women will be diagnosed with ovarian cancer this year. Most adults in the U.S. recognize a lump as a potential warning sign of breast cancer, but less than half can identify most of the other red flags associated with the disease, according to a survey commissioned by the Ohio State University Comprehensive Cancer Center. Mandy Gaither has 5 inflammatory breast cancer signs you may not know about.
It's rare but aggressive, and early detection of inflammatory breast cancer could mean the difference between life and death.
By the time we catch an inflammatory breast cancer, 1/3 of patients will already have metastatic disease, meaning that the cancer has spread outside of the breast and lymph node areas.
Because of that, survival rates are generally not as high for inflammatory breast cancer as they are for other types of the disease. This form of cancer doesn't often start with a lump and may not show up on a mammogram, according to the American Cancer Society. There are 5 different signs and symptoms to watch out for: an orange peel-like texture or dimpling of the skin, feeling of heaviness, tightening of the skin, engorgement of the breast, and an infection-like redness or swelling.
Many physicians don't even think of it as breast cancer signs or symptoms, and patients will often get multiple rounds of antibiotics before they ever get to a breast biopsy.
Dr. Sachin Gerard with Ohio State's Comprehensive Cancer Center says if you notice any of the signs, to see a doctor who's aware of this form of the disease immediately.
So the patient can get appropriate workup with imaging and biopsy. That's the most important thing.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The American Cancer Society says inflammatory breast cancer tends to happen in younger women under 40 years of age. It appears to develop more often in black women than in white women and is more common among women who are overweight or obese. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, everyone. It's one of our favorite segments here at WCBI News. Eric's Movie Watchlist airs every Friday morning on WCBI News Sunrise. It is written and produced by Sunrise anchor and executive producer Eric Crosswhite. It is directed and shot and edited by Dylan Scott. This creative team comes up with many movies, all to recommend movies to you. Here's part 1 of the Halloween segments.
This is Eric. It is 1 a.m. Something's up with the elevator here at work. I'm having to take the stairs. So this definitely better be good.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Too ridiculously hard to answer. Okay, movie fan, you're not gonna like this week's offer.
No, I've got an offer you can't refuse. In the 1991 version of Cape Fear, what was the big plot twist?
The big twist that Max Cady could get in and out of their house the whole time.
You can call that a hint.
Wait, are you in the building?
This is the part in the scary movie where you go look. Next question, hotshot. In the movie Identity, where was the killer the whole time?
The killer was inside the mind of someone else.
You can call that another hint.
You should know I've seen like every Bruce Lee movie. You're about to enter the dragon. Go to my happy place, go to my happy place. Maybe not that happy. It's Ghostface again in Scream 3. There's no way out for Scream Queen, Sidney Prescott. This time she's running from being a victim to Los Angeles. While the first two use their meta-energy to take aim at scary movies, Part 3 takes aim at all of Hollywood. It's bigger, and its ambition should be considered when comparing it to the others. There's new aspects to Ghostface in this one, like the ability to change voices, that and bulletproof. In my opinion, there's no weak link in the Scream chain. The best line is when a producer asks the cop if there's any connection to a murder and their film. The cop says he was making a movie called Stab. He was stabbed. Next, we're rolling up on Trouble, and I Know What You Did Last Summer. A group of teenagers with bright futures mess it all up by celebrating too hard, and the victim of their irresponsible behavior doesn't forget. A year down the road, he puts on his best slicker and sets traps for them, like faking engine trouble. They're never safe, even in the backseat of a police car. The killer reveals himself with the best line: "Kids like you should be out having fun, drinking, partying, running people over, getting away with murder." And last, prepare for quite the conversation with Norman Bates in Psycho. A cinematic masterpiece, and the creepy stuffed birds are only the beginning. A lady on the run picks the wrong place to pull over, meeting the worst kind of mama's boy. The pacing of the story and the music build this into the ultimate slasher thriller. But the twist at the end is everything, not to mention a classic shower attack. It took a lot of vision by Alfred Hitchcock to make this movie way ahead of its time. Norman has my favorite line. He says, "I'm not capable of being fooled, not even by a woman." And here's where you can stream this week's choices. Scream 3 is on Max. You can find I Know What You Did Last Summer on Peacock, and Psycho is streaming on AMC+.
Last hint, what do the films Shutter Island, Secret Window, and Black Swan all have in common?
No. No. It can't be. Holy cow, I'm a psycho. Movies don't make psychos, movies make psychos more creative. Scream, 1996. Have I had a chance to ask you movie fans, what's your favorite scary movie?
To be continued. Until then, leave the criticism, take the cannoli.
All right, now that I'm sufficiently spooked, we're going to talk with Eric and Dylan about the creative process and what to expect in part 2 coming up later this week. Mid-morning, we'll be right back.
Shh. Careful, movie fans. This week's offers you can't refuse, coming to you lost in the wilderness, deep in the heart of the woods. Luckily, for your sake, I watch a lot of movies, so I'll be your guide with... Wait, did you hear that? It sounded like... Come on! Why does this always happen in these scenarios?
That's just another fun example of what you get when you tune in for Eric's movie watch list. Eric Crosswhite, WCBI Sun anchor and executive producer, and Dylan Scott, director, photographer, editor, are both here at the table with us this morning. Guys, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, no problem.
So how much fun is it doing Eric's movie watch list?
I have a lot of fun, but of course, you know, it is Eric's movie watch list, so people expect that.
Yeah, you do have a lot. I have a lot of fun too, though. Yeah, it's good.
So Eric, this was sort of your brainchild. You love movies, and so you were looking for a way to share your love of movies with our viewers, and you came up with this weekly segment. How do you decide what movies you're going to feature every week?
Well, there's lots of different angles that I come at it. Basically, I try and pay attention to any of the holidays, of course, that are coming up, and any sort of days of recognition for heritage, culture, things like that. Birthdays are a big one. I look and see if I can find a director or an actor that has a birthday coming up that falls on that Friday that the watch list is going to air, and I find 3 of their films. Sometimes, honestly, it just comes down to what I feel like watching.
Suffice it to say, you watch a lot of movies.
I do, and I would whether this segment existed or not, of course, but I have to, of course, when I pick the movies, re-watch them.
Sure.
So that it gives me an excuse to do that, but also it helps me narrow down the list.
The production quality of it is fantastic, so it has to be a team effort here. So when you get the list from Eric, are you then sort of deciding how are we going to put this together to make it look cool every single week?
Yeah, my brain is scrambled at the beginning of it, and I'm just trying to untangle every little thread. But he sends me, the movies. He sends me a script. He usually writes out the script, so it's a good outline.
So obviously it takes time to get all of this shot because this is a lot of extra footage, especially that we saw with the Halloween, the first part of that Halloween version there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was and well, my goodness, every now and then we have a guest star.
Yes, of course. Anytime we can get him on the screen, we have to.
But so there's the shooting that goes on, but then there's an editing process. What goes into that, Dylan? Does Eric help you with that, or you've got the vision and you just go for it?
I usually just go for it. I mean, we definitely talk about things, talk it out, but I usually just go for it, and I have references of other movies that I may try to emulate, you know. I look up different lighting styles that a movie has, if we're doing a horror movie, whatever it might be.
So this week we're going to see part 2 of your Halloween, and you don't have to tell us what they are yet, but I will tell you, I do not like scary movies, but all the ones you featured in that first part, I've seen all those. So that's, you know, as I've gotten older, I've just decided I don't want to freak myself out like that way. But so in picking out scary movies, are you trying to find one that's those that are just really iconic?
I am, for the most part. I do try and throw in, like this next week, there's kind of one in there that's a little bit bizarre. It's not necessarily considered a classic, but I myself find it truly scary. So most of the time I mean, it's called Eric's Movie Watchlist because I mean, they're movies that I like. And when I'm talking about liking them, those things I'm saying are absolutely true.
So Dylan, are you ever like, I think we should do this movie instead of that movie? Are there ever times when you kind of get some input on which movies?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe I'm like, I don't know, maybe I've mentioned one or two, but usually I just let him handle that. I just kind of go with it because I don't want to impede too much on that.
And there's a lot of preparation that goes into these. Really, when we shoot the big ones, we do them all in one night.
Yeah.
But we're able to do that because we start talking about them at least a month in advance.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
And it's a lot of conversation. So a lot of movies get brought up. Dylan brings up a lot of movies, and that definitely has sway.
So we're almost in November, so you're already thinking about the Christmas watch list, I'm sure.
We've talked about it.
We have already a little bit.
It'll be a big one.
Oh, well, for sure.
It
There
has
are
to be.
lots of classics for that one. One thing I love that you do during every segment is you give your favorite line from the movie. And some of it's a line that everybody remembers and that sort of stands out for the movie, but sometimes it's not. So when I say you watch movies, you pay a close attention to all the details.
Absolutely, and I have to be able to explain the context of the line for it to make sense and to be funny. And that's kind of what I'm considering when I'm writing it all together. When picking those lines, do I want to pick something that everybody knows, or maybe I want to throw something at them that they haven't heard before that they have to kind of look at the screen, pay attention to?
And I think that's maybe something that would inspire me to go watch a movie. You know, if you give me Home Alone, I'm going to go, Kevin is the line everybody remembers from that movie.
Right.
But you may bring something else out that I missed, and I'm going to go watch it and see if I can catch it.
I love that. That is really what I'm hoping to do.
So from a creative standpoint, what can we look forward to coming up next, Dylan? I mean, how do you make it better? I mean, sometimes you guys are just in the studio with the low lighting, and we love that. But now we've got these narratives that are coming out.
Yeah. So it's we shoot at midnight on Wednesday nights because he gets here. He's the morning producer, so I have to meet him at midnight. And for this next one, we're just going a little more ambitious with some of the camera shots. You know. And we want to spook you a little bit. Yeah.
The first shot will be, I think, pretty impressive if it works out like
it'll
we
take
want
a
it
couple
to.
takes.
So the first Halloween segment that we just saw, you shot that in one night?
We did.
All of that? Wow. You had some help, Peyton, who's also
Peyton was there,
okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
But it's usually just me and Eric. We're just like, even the one, with the tent that he was just in, we just shot that in one night.
Well, I will tell you, coming up here pretty soon, in about 3 weeks, I will be in this building producing when you're away for a couple of days.
Don't be scared now.
Oh, I will be watching my back the entire time I'm there. I've lost my earpiece connection, so I'm going to ask our camera person if they can tell me how much time we have left, because they are telling me to wrap up, that we were talking too much.
We were having fun.
Well, we look forward to this week's watch list so we can get the second power of Halloween. Thank y'all both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So much.
All right, coming up, personal summit means working toward a different kind of goal. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. An estimated 30,000 people attempt to summit Africa's famed Mount Kilimanjaro every year. A teenager from Washington, D.C. took on the daring challenge, climbing for a cure. Here's Chris Van Cleve with that.
It's gorgeous, but it's a little intimidating knowing that we're going to be at the top of that.
16-year-old Hudson Reynolds had quite the summer adventure, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest mountain in Africa. It took 6 days and at times near freezing temperatures to reach the summit.
Did you have moments where you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, definitely. But whenever I thought about that, I just thought about my sister, what she's had to go through.
It was for his older sister Tia that he climbed those 19,341 feet.
We made it to the roof of Africa.
The effort raised $200,000 to battle the little-known disease he's watched her fight every day. It's called PKU and affects about 16,000 Americans. It makes food protein toxic to the brain.
I'm really inspired by him, and I love that we are working on this together.
Battling the disease is a family affair. Her mother skied across Norway to raise money. Her grandfather biked across America. They've raised millions, helping lead to a breakthrough, a daily shot to manage PKU.
What she's had to go through her whole life just doesn't compare to climbing Kilimanjaro, no matter how hard it was.
The next mountain they hope to climb is the one leading to a cure. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Washington.
And we'll be right back to wrap things up. Stay with us. All right, tonight we bring you our second episode, Telling Your Story. Superior Patton brings joy and compassion with her story. Growing up with very little only served to make her share what she now has with her community. Part of my conversation with Superior was about the inspiration to cook for her neighbors. Take a listen.
I was sitting there immediately after I said that to her. I felt God tell me to feed people. And I was just like, what am I going to do? And I was like, I'm going to go ahead and feed people because I may run across some kids, just like the kids that I, work with, or maybe, a mother that's laid off who can't provide. So let me do these 25 plates and just start there. But I started in my little kitchen, in my house, and it's 17,000 meals that have been served.
Love her story. You can watch an excerpt from Superior's story tonight at 5 and 10 on WCBI News. And then be sure to go to WCBI.com and click on the Features tab, and you can watch the entire conversation with Superior Patton online at WCBI.com. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you back here next time.